Welcome, race fans, and tonight the Relentless Racing League is bringing it down to the final 8. There's only going to be 4 drivers leaving here, heading to Dover, looking to win a championship with the Relentless Racing League Xfinity Series. Man, we have had a points battle. Only one locked in. 3 spots open. The way those points are looking right now, we've got Schaefer is locked in, but you've got Morris, Banks, Park, Hendricks, Newbraw, Riggs, and Greg Rogers all fighting for 3 of those spots. Greg missed last week, so he has got a major hole to dig out of. He pretty much has to win to advance. Riggs, Newbraw, they're both possibly looking at a win to get in. But that battle between Morris, Banks, Park, and Hendricks, man, that's going to be a tight race. Yeah, Lulu, let's go, Greg. SDR Racing. I got the Spicer with me. He's going to be here shortly. I think he's just a little bit trying to put some laps in. Right now we're looking at one of those playoff drivers who's trying to get into it. It's going to be the 14 of Brandon Park. He's one of the ones on the track. Right there is last week's winner is going to be Schaefer. Hampton, Virginia. He's sitting pretty good, and you can see the DBR boys, all 3 of them still in playoffs. You guys are going to have to really make it happen. Brandon Banks. And Michael Newbraw. So these guys are trying to get an idea figured out on how they're going to. Well, not all of them's going to get in. I mean, it is what it is. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's going to be a dog fight tonight. Right now, with practice, Riggs and Park are sitting ahead. I'm pretty sure Exile's pretty tickled to death over that one. But 8 left. 4 spots remaining. One's already locked in. 3 openings, and Mr. Bobby Rafferty has wandered up here with me. Bobby, how you doing tonight?
Oh, it's a long walk from the haulers, but we're here. We're here.
I'm gonna tell you what, we may be here. We've got 8 of them that's here, but man, we're gonna have to be the bearer of bad news because only 4 of them's heading on to Dover to fight for that championship.
And I'll tell you what, we've got a lot of drivers that are going to play it conservative, but I think we're going to see the quite a few of them. I think we're going to see 4 of them play conservative, and 4 of them are going to be going for broke. And the one to watch tonight is Greg Rogers, since he had to miss last week. He is in a win it or go home situation. So I think we're going to see Relentless's favorite driver. We're going to see him pull all the stops out tonight. He's got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yeah, because like I was saying earlier at the broadcast, him missing that one race, it's okay to miss a race, use a drop week, but man, when you have to use it in playoffs when it's that tight, it's pretty much you've got to throw that Hail Mary. I mean, it's either you win or you're going home. That's pretty much the boat he's in.
No, absolutely. And, unfortunately, real life has to come first because I don't care who you are, even if you're in the eNASCAR series, this don't pay the bills. eNASCAR definitely gets a little bit closer, but this still ain't going to pay the bills. So, you know, jobs and family and everything else, that's always going to be the priority.
And you know what? If anybody has the chance here at Chicagoland to throw that Hail Mary, I'm gonna have to put it with him. I mean, he's been in a hole before and he still found a way. But man, you've got a strong field. Those remaining seven that's in there, this ain't nothing to shake a stick at, man.
No, absolutely not. I mean, let's be completely honest here. This entire this entire lineup that we have in here of drivers, you if in street racing terms, we ain't got no ducks in here. There ain't a single duck in this series. Everybody is fast. Everybody is a threat to win. Yes, we've had standouts like North South Racing and DVR. Those guys have definitely been in contention every single week. But we've seen multiple different drivers just give them absolute fits throughout the season. So, you you can't just say that it's, going to be North South or DVR because there's going to be somebody out there, enter a Greg Rogers or enter a Cody Riggs or Brandon Park, or even looking at the timesheets right now, Drew Holman or even a Chad Wiggins. They could throw a monkey wrench in our main four guys' plans very, very easily.
Pretty much make them fight to off points to get into it. Which I mean, it's pretty much your top eight comes down to three teams. You've got DBR, North South, well, four teams: Exiled and Shenandoah Valley Racing.
Absolutely, and I couldn't be happier for any of those guys. They've all had incredible seasons. They've all worked their butts off to get here. I think we said it even at the beginning of the season. Even to get a top 10 in this series was going to be an accomplishment. So for you to be able to lock yourself in the final four, um, that's really, really saying something about you as a driver and your team and your preparation.
Yeah, especially this field. I mean, because it's a field of. I'm gonna tell you what, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference except for the names, which was the Cup and Xfinity. As hard as these guys race,
Absolutely, and I think my partner in crime has just creeped into the booth. What's going on, Mr. Frey?
Man, I am jealous. I am really jealous. These guys are going to have a blast tonight. This track is fun. Surprisingly, this car, I hate the Xfinity car, but man, I was having a blast out there running some practice laps.
well, that explains why it took you a minute to get up here.
Oh man, I was enjoying myself running the high lane, trying to run the low lane, see what kind of times I can put together. It's gonna be good.
Well, one thing for me, and yes, this is very selfish for me to say, I'm actually really looking forward tonight. Not even because I have a driver or two drivers in contention for it. On a personal level, I got all my eNASCAR paint stuff done tonight, so I don't have any stress. I could actually sit back and enjoy myself and watch the race and commentate it with you guys, and not, not have to be stressing about it.
I will tell you what, though, I am really interested to see how this track is going to transition tonight. It's already gone through a huge transition just during practice. Um, it slows down, it picks back up. The cars are sideways. The cars have tons of grip. It's really transitioning, and I am curious to see how this track is going to transition after 110 laps, but also how the drivers can adjust to that transition.
So what you're telling me is this is the exact type of track that I like, and I would absolutely love to be racing out there right now.
Oh, absolutely. Early on in practice, running that high line, running 30.2s. Right now, running that high line, I was running like 30.7s. It's just the track is all over the place. It's going to be all about who can be consistent with those transitionings happening. And sun's going to go down while we're racing. So that's going to be an even bigger factor because that is going to really affect how the car handles.
Oh, now I'm big jealous. Now I'm big jealous. Why'd you have to tell me that?
I'll tell you what, man, it surprised me. We started off at a track temp up in the 80s, and the car just you could really rip that outside lane. But then as the temperature dropped, the car loosened up. I fully expected the car to tighten up as the temperature dropped.
I think it may have to do with the amount of rubber that's getting laid down on that top groove, though, because yes, your ambient temperature is dropping, but your track temperature, I'll guarantee you, in that lane was skyrocketing, and you're going to lose that lateral side, or what I would call side bite, where now, yeah, you're gonna have to hunt around the track. You know, I almost wouldn't be surprised if we saw that middle lane or maybe even that bottom lane come in if it's transitioning that hard tonight.
Well, that's what I'm kind of hoping for, honestly, because early on in practice, you could not run that bottom line with any kind of pace. I'm curious to see who's going to be brave enough to test that line and whether they can keep their rear tires underneath them or if they go spinning towards the infield.
I'll tell you, if there's going to be anybody that does it, I'll tell you the driver that's going to do it. I'll give you one guess.
Does his name start with a J?
No, it does not.
Oh, I guess my guess was wrong.
Greg Rogers, as we were talking before you came in the booth, he's got nothing to lose tonight.
Yeah,
Literally nothing to lose. He is going to throw forget the kitchen sink. He's throwing the whole kitchen and the bathroom toilet at this thing tonight
He tossing
because
the whole house.
oh yeah, he's tossing multiple houses at this thing, and he's just in that position where he doesn't have a choice. That's what he's going to have to do.
well, and that's another thing, right? We got one person locked in, Brandon Schaefer, won last week, but we got 7 other guys trying to get in that top 4. But how? How are you? The top line is where it's at, in my opinion. I think the bottom line, you just cannot carry the speed off the corner right now. But the other thing that I was surprised by, one, is if you hit the wall, like on entry corner or through the corner, it really doesn't hurt the car speed wise.
Interesting.
But if you hit the wall in 3 and 4, it kind of acts like the ARCA car where it does not want to let you go.
Oh, sticky walls. I like it.
Yes, so it is going to be very interesting because those guys that are full send, got nothing to lose. If they get into that wall in 3 and 4 and they got cars behind them, you're going to see them scatter, and it's definitely going to add some spicy racing.
Yes, first spicy reference of the night, and we're not even through qualifying. I love it. As of right now, looks like we got Davey Hendricks at the top of the board with a 377, and Cody Riggs sitting in second. Greg Rogers, Ed Morris, Jordan Miles in the top 5 so far. So
Davey just put down a 2 on his second lap. That is quick, a
that is
30.2.
very quick.
I honestly didn't think the track had it in it, but the sun is going down, and maybe that's adding some speed.
Davey said, "Hold my sippy cup and watch this."
Now, Ed Morris and Davey Hendricks, I think, are going to be ones to watch tonight, as well as Brandon Park. They came into the session late and put down 30.2s where everybody else was running 30.4s. The real fast times in practice were set early, with the exception of those 2. The DBR guys, I don't think they were actually pushing their car. It looked like they were trying to help their teammates out. So I'd be curious to see what kind of times they run. But Ed Morris and Brandon Park are really, when they put their fast time down in practice, I was very surprised.
And I actually watched Newbraw had put him on blast for a little bit. I actually watched him earlier today when I was setting a few things up. I got into a Chicagoland Xfinity race, and lo and behold, he was in there. So I was kind of watching. So I know he's logged some laps today.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're taking this seriously, you got to get out and run laps. I think all through practice he was working with his teammates to try and find even more speed. I'd be curious to see if that transitions to anything in this race. Kind of, as I said before, Brandon Park jumps up to P2.
And I know that Brandon is very hungry. He doesn't want to leave anything to chance. Yes, he's sitting pretty decent in points right now. But, you know, I believe, if I remember correctly, we have Hendricks on the outside looking in. So, right off the bat, he's got 1 bonus point to help him now. So, I don't really think anybody is really safe with the exception of Schaefer tonight.
You're 100% right. We were looking at the points after last race, and it was 2 points difference between second and fifth. That's where the battle's going to be. And if Davey Hendricks' pole holds up, that's 1 point that's going to tie him up with Brandon Banks, Brandon Park, and Davey. They'll all be sitting at the exact same point total, 1 point behind Ed Morris.
All I know is I'm excited to see how this all plays out. I remember being in these situations last season in Xfinity where it was win it or wear it, very tight battles. I'm looking forward to kind of being on the other side of the fence right now, where I can watch and see how it plays out without sitting in the car on the starting grid with the butterflies in my stomach, going, man, I don't know how this is going to play out.
Well, and I'm also curious to see how who. I mean, I think there's going to be two plans tonight for those guys fighting to get in. You're going to see the guys who are pushing for those stage points, and you're going to see the guys who are pushing for the overall finishing position. If you can get both, awesome. But you know, those guys right on that line that are all kind of sitting there a couple points away from each other. What route are they going to choose? Are they going to try to get those bonus points to guarantee them and hope they have it at the end to get that? Or if they're going to say, you know, forego those bonus points and try to get that overall finishing position and get in that way?
Well, the main way to get in is just win, especially if you're one of those 8. Then you don't have to worry about points.
And out of those top 5, you know, Brandon Schaefer locked in. The next 4 drivers is where the battle is, and then there's a huge points gap from 6th through 8th. They're all over 10 points back. So a lot of those guys, we may see them forget about stage points and just go for that win. Stage tonight is at lap 45 with 3 additional sets of tires. Three sets of tires, 110 laps. I don't think will really be an issue, but when do you use them?
I think that's more of where it's going to play out, is when do you use them, not as much as how many sets do you have. If I remember correctly from running this place over the past 2 seasons, the undercut is king at this place also. So if you can catch some guys out by pitting a lap earlier than them, you're going to be in a real good spot.
Well, and with that being said, iRacing says 32 laps of fuel with a stage at lap 45. You know, there's some strategy to be had there, whether you go in there, you know, run it all the way out, take tires, stay out at the stage, do gas and go under green and take tires at the stage, take tires both times you stop. There's definitely some strategy going to be involved tonight just because of where the stage is, so it should make things a little interesting.
If y'all look over there at that tower on the left side, we made it a little bit easier for you tonight, thanks from last week. Your playoff drivers are tagged in green banner. So you'll have a little bit easier job to see where your Rogers is at as he moves his way up through the field.
And with that, Rogers did not get that great of a qualifying position, so he's going to be, I imagine he's going to be looking to make moves early to climb up to the front and give himself the best opportunity. Easiest to pass cars when they're bunched up. He's got
Yeah.
nothing to lose.
Him and Cody Riggs. Cody Riggs is starting one row to the outside of him, so they both are kind of in that position of we gotta go now.
Right. Three wide in turn one.
You said spicy. We're gonna get spicy. Three wide again.
Davey Hendrick, I think that's going to be the preferred line at least early on. May see that transition throughout the night, but I think right now that top line is where you want
50 miles in the wall.
Jordan
Oh,
Miles,
Marshall Harris
defense
in it.
off. Everybody keeps it going. Jordan, I think, is going to have a little bit of, definitely has some damage on that right rear corner of the car. He hit the wall a ton there.
Well, we were watching that. Ed Morris and Brandon Banks to the front, battling for the lead. Davey Hendricks falls back to third and may even fall back to fourth.
So that's one driver that we cannot count out is Hendricks. We've seen him and Schaefer both in the back, the front, and the back.
Oh, Davey will be there at the end. Those four drivers fighting for those three spots are the four drivers sitting in P1 through 4.
It looks like Schaefer's and Rogers are both just kind of hanging back around 10 or 11. Schaefer knows he ain't going to have to worry about, but Rogers, on the other hand, is a sense of urgency. Yeah, Tony, it's going to be a wild one, not regardless.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty calm early on, but I think where it's going to get very interesting is going to be in the event that there's a late race caution as we see one car into the wall. Oh, Cody Riggs just turned over. Big checkup. Riggs got in the back of him.
Oh, and Schaefer. We're getting something off of Schaefer.
Right as I say, it's going to be calm early on.
Let's jump it back and see what happened there.
It's all your fault, Tony.
Freaking. Oh, it looks like it was a little bit forward. Reverse would work here. I think I had a little bit of, quite a bit of them getting into it. Cedric, look like Cedric was in it. I was going to see how that played out.
As interestingly, Jason Hastings just had a little expedition there through the grass in 3 for some reason.
Yeah,
Not
Cedric
sure what was going on
and
there.
Hastings got into each other coming out of 3, and that's what kind of messed up Hastings' car, where Riggs got into the back of him. Oh, as you see Schaefer, he's trying to avoid it. Well, Tony, you called it. I don't know if that was the way you wanted to call it, but that was the way it.
Yeah, not quite what I was expecting there, but 9 laps in, I imagine that these guys can. It'll be close on fuel here, but I think these guys will probably try to make this to the end of the stage, and imagine most of them went 2 tires, or I mean, sorry, probably went fuel only 9 laps in. I don't think you're gonna burn up a set of tires now, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, you got Sylvia and Marshall and Vincent. They all stayed out, so they're going to be about 8 less laps of fuel than the rest.
Well, and I think they're banking on another caution later on in the run. I think that's the only reason you would stay out there. Get that track position.
Track position is king here. There is no doubt about it.
That is true, but I am very surprised at how some of these guys are making that bottom line work. I did not expect the bottom to be viable this early, but looks like some of these guys are able to. I mean, I think we saw Brandon Banks and Ed Morris actually get around Davey Hendricks on that bottom line early on in the race. So I think we're seeing a transition already. I'm curious if it's going to transition even further.
I'm thinking it will. I mean, it's a new learning experience for all of us. We've been so used to the way the tracks progress over, especially somebody like me that's been on sim for 13 years. It's been the same for a very, very, very long time. And now to have this curveball thrown at everybody, which again, it's definitely not a bad curveball. I absolutely love to see it, but you almost have to go to school and learn all over again on what the track is going to do and what to expect throughout the night.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to make for better racing, just because, you know, Chicagoland, right? It's notorious a highline track, especially I would say in most cars, kind of like Auto Club is and Kansas is, right? But with that progression that iRacing implemented, may change the way some of these drivers have to race these tracks. See a lot of cars rolling around the apron early on. Those are the cars that pitted trying to save a little bit of fuel just to ensure that they can make it to the stage.
5 of your 8 playoff drivers are right there together, holding position 4 through 9. So this restart's probably going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be who can get around those other cars first. I think these guys are the fastest cars in the field right now. The guys that stayed out, maybe not as fast early on, but will that track position help them out? Will that clean air help them out? How is this all going to play out? Sylvan got a pretty good jump there to get out front and went up to the top line. Just going to send it down on the bottom. See Brandon Banks. Yeah, Sylvan really lost a lot of speed off that corner. He's getting passed by all these guys. Marshall kind of able to stick with these guys, these front 2 cars after they got around him. He's holding with them.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I mean, if I'm a playoff driver, I'm a little nervous. And the moves Marshall's making are kind of aggressive for what he's doing, but they're giving him the room and let him send it 3 wide on him, take the lead back. That may have been a thing where, hey, I'm not racing you, go for it.
Schaefer, I think Schaefer may have a little bit of car damage. Either that or he's just staying conservative and staying away from everybody.
Well, he's really got nothing to lose, so there's no sense in getting up here and battling with these guys that are really hungry, for points, for position, for a win.
Yeah, he already had his old poop moment for the race.
I believe that's Michael Gervey back there. He was really struggling in turn 3 and 4. Kind of saw him almost maybe even up into the wall, pulling it back down, kind of all over the place there. As Marshall Harris is able to gap these guys, I'm curious if he's just pushing his car that hard and these guys are laying back. We know Marshall didn't take tires. He stayed out. That's how he got this track position.
Like you said, Tony, if I'm Morris Banks and the guys up front, just, have it. Take off, get away from us, stay up there and do your thing.
It's Devin coming back out of pit road.
That group right there, they're running it pretty good. About 2 all the way back, about 8.
Yeah, it seems like the playoff car that really fell off is Brandon Park. I'm curious if that's a strategy, trying to save fuel, save some tire, or if he's just not able to keep the pace with these guys. But we do know that all these guys are pretty much going to have to go a full fuel run unless a caution comes out. So that may be strategy there. Just hanging back, saving tires, saving fuel, making sure that you can make it to the stage while these guys go up here and burn up their stuff.
This is one that I do not have an answer for you. You have an answer when it comes to my guys. This time, not a clue.
We saw him kind of restart with those other playoff drivers there, but he just kind of fell back. I suspect it's a strategy thing. I don't think Brandon Park is slow by any means or slower than the cars in front of him. I gotta think
Also, his teammate Cody Riggs desperately needs all the points he can get. So I'm also wondering, is he hanging back to not take a point away from Cody at stage, because we've always said it, it can come down to one point, and with how close everything is right now. What did we say? Second, 2 points?
Yep. But Brandon Park is in that group. He also needs every point he can get because, with Davey getting that pole, that's gonna tie, that tied them up. If Davey gets stage points, Ed gets stage points, and Brandon doesn't, he's kind of that odd man out position.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Davey, Ed, Brandon, all up in here to get stage points right now, and Brandon Park sitting back in 10th. So maybe he is playing that long game and hoping to come back around him before the stage.
Would not be the first time we've seen him do that either. And that last time by, Brandon Park was about 3/10 quicker than everybody in front of him except for the top two. So I think that lap time right there about answers your question.
Yeah. That's what I suspected. And it makes sense, right? We anticipate this going all the way to stage under green. You really don't want to burn your stuff up early and fall out of those bonus point positions.
Since we green for a little bit, we can give a couple little shout outs to Cutscene and Whiplash. We'll get right back after that.
Trying to go to bed. All just really spectacular.
It also helps you put yourself into a routine.
I feel like I'm drinking lemonade. You guys give it a shot.
It works! It works! It's good!
Just try it.
Yeah, we're seeing Davey Hendricks run down Marshall Harris, but the battle right now is kind of back for that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th spot.
Morris has broke away from him a little bit, and it's still blanket right there with that whole group. Every one of them except for Cedric's battling for a playoff position.
The eyeball test is telling me that pack may be gaining ever so slightly on Ed Morris Jr. as well. So this could become a battle for 3 as Brandon Park is... I never am able to pronounce his name. Someone help me. A little bit of a hip check. We'll just say the number 42.
Dakota Orndorff.
Okay, maybe SDK is smarter than me. We'll go with that.
But I do think you're right. I think the 54 is gaining on Ed Morris inch by inch. He was able to get around Cody Riggs there and kind of put a gap on him. I think Brandon Banks will catch Ed 15 laps to stage. A little bit faster right now. Ed Morris may have burned up his tires a little more than Brandon Banks did.
Park is definitely moving his way through the field also. He is now up to 6th position. Yep, 6th position. So try to salvage some of those stage points.
I think he got a little out of shape coming off turn 2. Gonna get one of those spots back.
I think his issue right now is being trapped on that bottom side. I think that bottom side is rolling, but I think it abuses that right rear a little bit too much still. I think we need to see a little bit more rubber down there for that to really become viable.
Well, and it really hurts on corner exit, right? Using the whole track is where you gain your speed while you're running the bottom line. Carrying that more speed off the corner but being held down on that bottom line, like you said, is really seems like it's hurting him at the moment. He really needs to clear this this 30 car and get back where he can use that whole track.
Well, watch it. We hadn't seen much of him because first couple lap incident, but Schaefer, he's picked his way all the way back up to 8th.
Yeah, I think after that incident, he may have just been laying back, saving tires, and now it's go time, right? 12 laps to stage. Getting stage points does not matter to him specifically. However, taking stage points away from some of these drivers helps his teammates.
And right now, the only one he'd really want to get in front of would probably be Riggs. I mean, of course, Hendricks and Morris, but he don't want to affect Banks' race none whatsoever.
Well, and I don't think, realistically, they're going to catch Hendricks.
Now, if he does pass Marshall, he's clear now.
Yep.
Marshall, lo and behold, him and Sylvian and Vincent, them not pitting, Marshall's the best one out of all of it right now.
Marshall actually just came over the chat and said that they are pitting.
Well, and we knew that they
1921
couldn't make
came
it.
in.
Yep, we knew that they couldn't make it on fuel. He stayed out. So there's a few of them that are going to have to pit yet. And that's going to hurt, right? They're going to go a lap down. They're going to have to take the wave around. They're going to be behind on tires, and they're going to be behind in track position. So that's really going to hurt their race going for that final stage.
Riggs has got 7 laps left he's going to have to try to hold Schaefer off and get any kind of bonus points off the stage. Because like you said, Tony, Schaefer's just out there to take points away now.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Schaefer even attempt to pass Brandon Banks. It's going to help his teammate here, but he can help even more by putting other playoff cars behind him and taking those stage points away. Davey Hendricks is so far out now where he can just kind of coast the rest of the way. He's got a 2-second gap. He can lift early, save fuel, not put himself in a bad spot to run out of fuel, or if he catches lap traffic, he doesn't have to pass him. He's got enough gap where he's really not under attack going forward. So the battle right now is going to be for that P2 position and P4 on back. Schaefer just made the move on Cody. Dakota's going to try to make the move on Cody. That's going to set Cody back to approximately 6th position, with Brandon Park may be looking to get that spot from him as well.
Morris and Banks.
One thing I can tell you 100% for sure, there are no team orders in exile tonight. I told these guys, go out there, run hard, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, it's really hard as a teammate to, you don't want to put yourself out of the playoffs by helping a teammate, where potentially both of you are out of the playoffs.
Exactly.
So I think with Park, where you're at right now in the points, you got to get everything you can. Stage points, finishing positions. because that battle is so tight to advance to that championship 4 that you really can't afford to give up 1 point at the moment. And let's talk about Davey Hendricks here. Coming into this race, he was the odd man out, right? He was the one sitting in 5th. Got that pole, got that bonus point, bumped him up to tied with the 2 drivers in 3rd and 4th. And now he's out here leading this stage, going to get himself 7 bonus points, which is, if it stays the way it is, that's going to tie him with Ed Morris for 2nd. If Ed gets passed by Brandon Banks, it will actually put Davey ahead of Ed Morris by my math. So I think Ed has to do everything he can to keep Brandon Banks behind him as this stage comes to a close. And I'll tell you what, Brandon Banks really backed up the entry to turn 3 to really try and get a run off of turn 4 to make that pass, but just came up a little bit short. Got to that 07's bumper, but just could not get enough momentum to make that pass. So right now, Davey Hendricks and Ed Morris are going to be tied for 2nd in the points, which would drop Brandon Banks to 3rd, and I believe Brandon Park would be in 4th or 5th. I'm not sure which.
Well, all 8 of your playoff drivers are in the top 10. So
Yeah, I think I'm pretty confident right now the standings would be Brandon Schaefer with the win, Davey Hendricks and Ed Morris tied for 2nd and 3rd. Brandon Banks would be 4th, and Brandon Park would be in 5th. I don't feel like any of the other guys really gained anything there. Michael Newbraw was in 6th, 13 points behind these guys, and definitely lost out on stage points there, coming in at 10th. So he did not earn any stage points. Cody Riggs got 2 stage points, which is going to leapfrog him up to the 6th position in standings. And Greg Rogers did not gain any stage points. He is our last driver in the round of 8 after missing last week's race. So he is definitely going to be out here pushing to win this race.
it was a pretty close race off pit road between Hendricks and Morris.
It was, and I saw Brandon Banks really lift and hit the brakes. So that tells me that he was probably over the speed limit, but gave it back by hitting the brakes and did not get a black flag.
We do have one black flag under pits right now, which would be Josh Van Gore. Apparently got a passing under yellow. Race control's going to go and take a look at that for him.
I'm not sure what pit road speed is, but I think he may have gotten more than a passing under yellow. Nope, maybe not. Pit road speed is 50, so he was good.
We
You've got all your playoff drivers now bunched together, so there's no really oddballs amongst the crowd. That top 10, they can hook it together and go pretty much. Especially with Schaefer making his way back into the front. He's going to be looking to ruin somebody's party tonight.
Pretty sure the 83 did not get it for passing under yellow. I'm pretty confident he entered a closed pits.
That could very well be.
I'm just glad I ain't got to be out there worrying about this.
So there's some clarification. So he did get an EOL for entering a closed pit by accident, but then got a second black flag for passing under yellow. So Josh will be caboose at the end of the line of the lead lap cars.
That makes a little more sense.
Yes, but he did not pass anybody under yellow.
Yeah. So, because I was going to say, I saw him come into pit road before anybody else, which tells me he must have ran out of fuel. That's why he went into pits. However, I cannot seem to find the light showing closed pits.
Well, and at that point, I'd take the EOL all day long and just come down and top up.
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of, at that point, okay, I'll take my slap on the wrist. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Well, and realistically, if passing under, I think they're the same penalty.
I believe so, yes.
So, I don't think you're going to get a hold penalty for passing under yellow or anything like that. So probably
Unless
the same
they're
penalty.
Compounded. I would think unless they're compounded, which may have been the issue.
I don't know if iRacing does that, do they?
I've seen it where it's up the penalty severity before.
I've seen it at tracks where entering a closed pits gives you a hold penalty, but it varies at track by track, it seems like.
Whatever kind of mood iRacing's in.
Pretty much. I mean, iRacing telemetry has lied to us on fuel before by, I don't know, what was it, 30 laps, Tony?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. We got a change for the lead. 54 able to make it around Davey Hendricks.
Davey almost brushed the wall.
All right, so they used up one set of tires here. We've got 60 laps to go. We got 2 sets of tires in the pits.
Schaefer blinking.
I think you're splitting this, right? You can run 32 laps. You almost have to split it, right?
I would think so.
I don't think we're really going to have any strategy per se going forward. Just because, like I said, I think the fuel is like 32 laps. With 60 laps remaining, I think you're just going to split it in half. Maybe go a little longer on the first run that dry, so you have a couple a couple more laps of fuel. Should we get green white checkers?
The only caveat to that is, like I was saying earlier, the undercut here works insanely well. So we may see somebody gamble and go for that undercut and see if they could stretch out that gap and hold them off.
But the downside of that undercut is the fuel mileage, right?
Yep.
If you undercut it, you are definitely banking on some cautions, and then if those cautions don't come, you just ruin your whole race.
Stand corrected.
Well, I mean, I think it's a viable option, but you're banking on a lot of things that are out of your control. like it may be a desperation move for some of these guys towards the back of the points. You know, having to do something to try to advance. If it doesn't work out in their favor, no harm, no foul. They weren't going to make it anyways. But if it does, maybe they win the race because of it.
Well, these are the chances that you almost, again, like guys like Greg Rogers, you have to take that chance.
Absolutely. Greg came in like 20, 21 points behind the cut line. There's only 21 drivers. So he's not going to completely, 42 into the wall. Definitely not going to be able to make up that gap in points, being that he got no stage points. He would have had to win the stage and probably win the race and hope some of these drivers wrecked out just to try to make it in points. Not a viable option at the moment. So he's going to have to do something to figure out how to get some track position here.
Pretty much the way the points are setting right now. If you're Rogers, Park, or Riggs, you're pretty much definitely now in a must-win situation. And there's what he was talking about, Tony. The desperation may come out.
Yeah, I think Park not so much. He could still definitely points his way in. He's probably 2 points behind right now, maybe a couple more. But you know, if he could win this race or finish second, and those other guys finish, you know, 5th, 6th, and 7th, he'd be all right. Is that realistically something that could happen? Probably not, but it's not 100% out of the question. As Greg Rogers gets around the 07 of Ed Morris. That is for the 3rd position. The downside is he's 2.5 seconds back from the lead.
But you got to start somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. Just climbing through the field, putting yourself in that position to give you options. You know, if some of these guys, if you save a little bit of fuel and some of these guys don't, and they pit a lap before you and the caution comes out, you know, boom, instant advantage to you. Do I think Greg is doing that? No, I think he's pushing that car as hard as he can to try and close this gap.
Yeah, that's a long gap between Rogers and Hendricks.
But we did see the fall off. We did see some of these guys get way out, and then some of these guys save tires and start closing that gap. So it's possible, especially as tight as Hendricks and Banks are running, that they are pushing those tires pretty hard. And Greg, not really having anybody in caution.
Caution out.
Marshall Harris and Chad Wiggins. Not sure what happened there.
Oh, looks like Marshall may have just bounced off the wall.
Oh, absolutely. He definitely came down into the 17.
Chad is just another one of those guys that just cannot catch a break this season.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough on that 17 car this season. Got on the wall, pulled it down right into the 17. Now, granted, the 17 was coming up, but there was still plenty of room there. If the 19 hadn't pulled it down and came that far off the wall, it wouldn't have been an issue. But that move pretty much ruined both the races.
But good thing off that is no playoff drivers was around.
That is definitely the good thing, and I think there, you know, Chad probably kept it up there because he didn't want to take any of those playoff drivers out. He probably could have, you know, let it roll down the track and you know, try to do something, but he did the courteous thing, held it up there, kept the 19 there. Nobody took out a playoff driver. That would be very, very bad for these guys if that were to happen. They would not be making friends, I'll tell you that much.
Here's your little interesting Park staying out.
I think it's the right call here, honestly.
Get him a bonus point.
Get that bonus point. get, I think he's committed to that split strategy where these guys are probably going to just come in and fuel so they can run longer. He may give up some time early on, but having that track position may minimize that. Then he's going to come in pit for tires somewhere around lap 85, maybe even 90. And these guys, he'll gain a lot of time on fresh tires when these guys will still have to pit. So I definitely think that is the right call to make in the position that he is in. And I think my points may have been a little off earlier because I know Davey Hendricks led a lap, but I don't know if Ed Morris did.
This is why I let you deal with the numbers, because I'm not smart enough to numbers.
If they both led a lap, it's still the same as I said before. If only Davey led a lap, then he is 1 point above Ed. So I think both of these guys are sitting in really good positions. It's all going to come down to that finishing position.
Schaefer may have had see, I'm getting a notification on him.
Well, he's been blinking, so that may be the notification he got. Oh. Pits may not have been open and he was waiting for it?
I think that's very well what it could have been.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why he stopped. That's what that looked like to me. Anyways.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, Tommy. But it's also a smart call. Go ahead and stop and wait a little bit so you ain't got that penalty.
Absolutely. I'd rather give up the time there versus potentially getting a hold penalty or a stop and go penalty under green. That pretty much you're not going to be able to come back. That'd be really difficult to overcome versus taking the time, hitting the brakes, waiting for the pit road to open, and just taking your punishment before it becomes an even worse punishment.
Yeah, and it also shows well track awareness too, of seeing that the pits was closed. A lot of drivers may not have caught that yellow light flashing.
Absolutely.
Or red, whichever one they've got. It's been that long since I've raced.
Should be red. Well, we're gonna see how Brandon Park saved those tires because and how fast he really is compared to some of these guys. Because now with that track position, and he's got a couple other cars behind him, right? He's got Brandon Hughes and he's got Drew Holman, holding those other guys up a little bit. Cedric there. Drew pulled out the way and lets the playoff guys go by. Here he goes to the apron. And watching Drew in practice, that may have been, he was running the top line, up against the wall. So that may have been, he just wanted to be in his line.
You see Banks trying to get around him. There you go. Park has given up the lead.
Well, in his position, he just needs to run his race, run his strategy, and hope it pays off. Stop the bleeding as best he can. Try to maintain his track position as best he can. Keep pace. And 54 had a big moment there. Oh, that was tight.
Park and live just flashed before his eyes.
Yeah, that was a little sketch.
Did somebody say spicy?
Definitely definitely a pucker moment there.
Just chills. Appreciate the follow. You getting here just in time. We're supposed to get spicy.
Laps to go. Davey Hendricks out front. Greg Rogers in second, though. Doing what he needs to do to try to win his way into this championship.
Yeah, but, you know, at the same time, that's one driver I'd hate to try to catch, would be Hendricks.
Oh, absolutely, especially with no other cars around him. Davey's probably the smoothest driver that I've ever seen. He does not make mistakes.
It's not fun. It's not fun. Can confirm. Trying to catch Davey Hendricks is not fun.
Unless his VR dies, then you got a chance.
Right.
Yeah, I PTSD. Thank you, Jeremy.
2
for 1 right there.
With Davey Hendricks out front, with a gap behind him, the only way that you, in my opinion, that you're going to pass him is strategy.
Banks came in hot on that one.
Yeah, Chad, we feel you. We watched it happen. Greg Rogers falls to 4th as Brandon Banks and Ed Morris Jr. make their way around him.
I think Rogers came in a little too hot.
One thing I will say, though, and I hope my drivers don't kill me for this, but sentimental favorite for me tonight would be to see Greg get in. I would absolutely love that. I think that would be one of the most popular things this league has ever seen, is to see Greg Rogers make it into the Final Four.
Yeah, Greg is definitely a fan favorite. He also does a lot for this league. When Greg came in as an admin, the role that he wanted, you know, I kind of told him it's going to be a lot. I hope you're up for the challenge, and he definitely is. So definitely would be good to see Greg work his way in, but it also would knock one of these other guys out.
Hence why I said I hope my drivers don't kill me for saying it. Now, here's the question. If you're parked, when do you go in?
I think you're committed. You almost, with that stage, or with that caution, I feel like somewhere between 85 and 90 is the number. That's maximizing both sets of tires with giving yourself a little bit extra fuel at the end. Should we get a green, white checker? Some of these other guys will be able to stay out longer, but they will still have to pit. So realistically, if it's me, I'm probably coming in 87, 88, somewhere in there. You don't want to pit too early, right? Because then if a caution comes out, you're screwed. You want to run it long, but you also don't want to run it too long to the point where those new tires are not going to be a benefit for as many laps.
It's pretty much simmered down all throughout the field, especially amongst the playoff drivers.
Yeah, we got a nice little battle back here around 10th, 11th, 12th, you know, that area. Everybody else is pretty much single filed out. If we're going to have any issue, it's going to be back here.
Newbrow snuck his way up to 5th, but I don't know if that's going to be enough for him to squeeze into the Final Four.
Yeah, losing out on those bonus points when the guys he needed to beat gained them. I feel like he's in a must-win spot. I think he kind of was in a must-win spot when he came in. Just the point differential between fifth place and I believe he was in like sixth or seventh. But it was a good, 13 or something like that points before we even started this race. Back to my strategy call earlier. I am by no means a strategist when it comes to racing. I typically choose the wrong strategy, but I feel like Brandon Park, by staying out when everybody else came in, kind of forced. It really limited his strategy.
I'll bet you the second that he can make it, we will see him go in because he has been just falling like a rock. And unfortunately, I think now being over 9 seconds back is really going to kill any chance that he's got.
Yeah, I'd just be a little leery on that because I do have a feeling that we are going to have a late race caution. Granted, you don't burn up as much fuel under caution, but if we start, getting into green-white checkers, if he pits, too early, that could be bad. I also think he may be conserving a little bit of tires here, so he's not struggling as much as he gets to the end of this run.
I'll tell you, the only one right now that don't look like he's struggling, that's Davey. He's got a clear windshield ahead of him, and he's on cruise control.
The downside to Brandon Park's strategy is now he's back here with guys that he hasn't been racing around the whole race. So somebody makes a mistake back here, takes him out, he's not racing with the fast guys that he was early on. So, Bobby, if you're right on the strategy, I think this is right about the time where Brandon Park is going to start thinking about coming down pit road. With 27 laps to go, he could make it from here with extra fuel in the tank to do a couple of green-white checkers.
And here he comes.
There you go.
Nailed it on the head. His issue now is definitely going to be going down a lap, but nobody else is going to be able to make it. So at this point, if I'm Brandon, it's go for gold. I'm not leaving anything out there, and I am using every bit of those tires.
And you're praying that it stays green.
Yep.
A caution comes out right now. Your race is pretty much over. Maybe not. I mean, you can maybe get away brown because these guys would need to stop for fuel, but you're still starting at the back of the pack on slightly more used tires. So you'd be at a disadvantage there. So he is definitely praying that it stays green through the end of this. Let that green flag pit stop cycle through, and hope he can overcome that 9 seconds or whatever it was on track. Definitely going to be difficult. Definitely going to need some help, but I feel like that may have been his only option.
Newbrow is fighting with Rogers now for fifth.
Yeah, I feel like Greg probably burned up his tires trying to get out front. We may see him pit a little earlier as well, just because he is falling back speed-wise. I feel like Greg is probably in better shape than Park is, just because he has the track position and he's only, 3 seconds, behind the leader, so he could probably overcome that distance by short pitting this.
Briggs,
Looks like, not
Morris.
to interrupt you, yep, Briggs and Morris in the pits.
All right, so I feel like if you're Greg, you're probably gonna have to stay out for the long run now, right? You need a caution.
Yep.
27 coming down pit road. All right, so you saw those two pull off. They seemed like they were. Well, 54 was definitely bump. Caution? Oh, okay, that was just the broadcast showing that. No caution. We see the 54 running down Davey. So how long does Davey stay out? I feel like if the 54 gets around him, you're pitting next time
Immediately. Yep, immediately.
If you can hold him off, you don't want the 54 to pit before you, right? You definitely don't, because one lap before you, he's probably gonna end up getting around you, one lap pressure tires. So if I'm Davey, I'm coming in this time. Even if the 54 comes in this time, I'm still coming in this time.
Davey coming down pit road now.
And the 54 stayed out. Benefit Davey, assuming that it stays green. But the 54's got to come this time.
You've also got Rogers coming in with him. So.
I hate strategy races, racing in them, but man, I love watching them.
Definitely something to talk about when you're broadcasting.
No doubt about it. Caution flag is out.
Oh, Banks, almost. Cody Briggs involved. This is not good. Banks almost. I'll have to look and see if he crossed that line.
Well, what does that do for Davey? Davey's gonna, if he fell a lap down, he's gonna have to take that wave around. I'd be really curious to see how this is gonna cycle out here next time by at the start-finish line.
Oh.
Just looking back at it here, Cody exiting turn 2 just got loose and she took off. He was along for the ride.
Well,
unfortunately, a great season for him comes to an end right there.
And I will say that's one of the things that surprised me about this track and car combination is typically you're burning up the right front in this car, right? Not here. You're burning up the right rear.
Yep.
Nanya, you're right. That was a hard lick.
All right, so the 07 took the wave around. So he's going to be at a slight disadvantage. 14 is one lap down.
So Roger and Hendricks may have benefited off of that.
So right now it's showing that they both were able to stay on the lead lap, which definitely will be a benefit track position-wise. They pitted at if this is accurate, they pitted at the exact right time.
You know what? You've also got DBR is swarming there towards the front. I mean, Bank, Schaefer, and Newbrow sitting 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, but I feel like Davey was faster early in the run, and we only have 18 laps to go. So I think the track position is going to be a huge difference, especially controlling that restart if this plays out like it's showing, but we'll have to see as they grid up who all takes the wave around and where everybody cycles out at.
We'll go ahead and look through these cameras and see which one's going to be that finish. I have a feeling it's going to get pretty wild here in about 16 laps.
Yeah, kind of what I expected. That late race caution is going to throw a wrench in a lot of these guys' plans. It may actually work out very well for a couple of these drivers, but we will see.
And one that, where he's sitting right now, Well, I think Morris would be all right if he finished outside the top 10.
I don't know. I really don't.
It's entirely too close.
Well, I will say the benefit for Morris is the 14 car is also back there. And that's really right now who he's battling. Right now, Morris is looking at everything that I'm seeing. He's sitting in 12th with the 14 of Brandon Park sitting in 14th. So that, if it was to finish right now, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that Ed Morris would make it in and Brandon Park would not.
Especially Hendricks, those 7 bonus points plus 1 for a qualifying pole. So, I mean, there's 8 that he's going to leapfrog.
Yeah, there's the 14 car taking the wave around. So that's going to put him back in the lead lap, roughly 14th position. Ed Morris already on the lead lap, sitting in 12th position, 13th position. So we may have a battle back here for that final transfer spot. Ed Morris, I feel like, has the advantage based off of the stage points he scored. But all it takes, you're back here around some of these guys you haven't raced with all night, and one incident could take you completely out of this race and out of this championship.
Now,
this is a time as a car owner, I'm holding my breath.
Let's just hope Rogers remembers to breathe for the next 17 laps.
Well, and he's going to be under attack, right? The 54 does not want him to win. I feel like the 38, he's probably okay with it because he's probably got the position right now. And 28's left a little bit on the launch.
That was not what Rogers was wanting, but Banks and Hendricks was loving it.
Yeah, he's able to get down, get in line in third. Oh, big wreck behind. Park makes it through. 07 makes it through. They're still wrecking.
Park's in the grass. Looks like he may have held it.
Yep, he lost some track position there potentially. We'll see where they cycle out, but he avoided the wreck. And we're going to rack him up and do it again.
Hashtag spicy.
Definitely some spicy going on.
Hashtag Park needs some new drawers.
He saw his chances flash before his eyes.
Park needs some new drawers. I need some new drawers.
And that happened ahead of them. It was just innocent bystanders.
I would be very curious to see a cockpit view of the 07. Like, that was definitely a pucker moment.
That was definitely where it started, right there in front of him. It looked like it involved Ricky Williams.
Well, and I'm not sure what happened there with that 15 car. It seemed like he was like full send. I didn't see him really slowing down there compared to the other cars around him.
Yeah, it was looking on cockpit of Ed Morris Jr. Definitely a pucker moment.
Yeah, he's definitely saved his playoff race.
Sometimes making those evasive maneuvers is what you need.
We're going to bounce it back one more time and see what actually caused that. Looked like 3 wide right there.
No, interestingly enough, Brandon Park just came back down pit road. Getting another set of tires.
Looks what caused that right there. That was Ricky, Cedric, and Brandon.
Well, and looking at it there, like, I feel like they were pretty decent positioning-wise. The 11 got loose on the bottom a little bit.
Yeah.
11 came up the track into the 30.
Back end kicked loose, and that was all she wrote.
Sounds like we got another black flag issue with the 83.
You'll never guess what it was for.
Passing under yellow.
There it is. Look, I think we could penalize him all night if he could just see the checkered flag.
Yeah, and right now he's got a clean car, so that hasn't happened in a while.
No,
But
it
I am
has
gonna
not.
go back and see. I think iRacing's just getting a little goofy tonight.
You know, you've got your top five. They're all in the playoffs. And you got Morris Jr. Park sitting outside right at the top 10 and out.
Well, and Park, by going down pit road, he must have felt that he could not gain the track position he needed to advance. So he's taken the opportunity to get fresh tires, do something different to see if he can work himself into that championship four.
Yeah, because, you know, Hendricks and Banks, that's going to be a points thing. Rogers, Newbrow, they're sitting for Hail Marys. I mean, it's like we said, Rogers was started in a hole when he missed last week, so he was already at that win to get in point.
I did see a little something interesting on pit road. I believe it was the 30 car. Cedric ended up turning sideways down pit road. I don't know if it was off of the 14's nose or what happened there, but I saw him go nose first into the pit stalls. All right, so everything I've seen tonight tells me that Greg Rogers is probably better off being on that bottom line versus that outside line. I think every restart we've seen that third place car clear the second place car. I'd be curious to see if that happens again. Brandon Banks is one heck of a driver. So I feel like maybe this may be the odd time that does not happen. But I'd be curious to see if Greg can get a really good restart here, being that he's right on the 38's bumper and doesn't have to try and look out his window to see that 38 launch.
You've got Hendricks in front of you. Hendricks is good on his restarts, so you've got a good marker to keep up with.
Well, and it's right in front of you, right? There's no delay there. You can see as soon as that bumper goes, you're going with it. Versus being on the outside, you're looking to the left and then you're hitting the throttle. So there is a little bit of a delay there.
Looking at that,
when you're on the outside.
That top 8, you've got 4 DBRs sitting right there. So Rogers and Hendricks are no man's land right now.
At 54 got a good launch. Greg's able to hang on his left rear fender. We'll see how it plays out in turn 1. Momentum to the 54 on that higher line. He's going to clear that 28 and slide into second. Brandon Park sending it up the middle. He is now one position behind the 07 with those fresh tires.
So if I remember correctly, he's going to have to get quite a few spots ahead of that 07 because of stage points.
I think you're right.
Rogers is loose.
Big wiggle up there on the high lane. Greg Rogers falling back. Ed Morris gains 2 spots out of that, gets around the 95 and the 28. Brandon Park right now is full send, right? He is not lifting any more than he has to make the corner. He is going to dig for everything he can get, try and get around these guys. I mean, if another caution comes out, you know, he may win this race. He'd probably need like 2 or 3 cautions back to back as Greg Rogers goes around infield into the inside wall. No caution as of yet.
Hmm.
Yeah, looked like he towed, so there will be no caution.
And that car was fighting him terrible after he got loose.
Yeah, it almost looks like that bottom line or that top line is getting a little slick compared to what we saw earlier where that bottom line seems to be where all the grip is right now.
You know what? I hate to say it, if it finishes how it does, Hendricks, he once again crashed that DBR sweep.
Yeah, he's got 4 DBR cars lined up behind him. 6 to go. See if Davey Hendricks can hold on to it, win out, advance himself into the championship 4.
Banks is closing that door.
Brandon Park on the outside of the 07. Yeah, but I think right now, it looks like that bottom line is where you want to be. As we see the 14 make it work on the outside, but I think that may be the fresh tires. So if Davey can defend that bottom line, he got a little wide there, but he's going to come back down and gain that run off the corner, gain a little bit, about a car length on the 54. 54 is sending it deeper into the corner, but Davey running that by. Oh, Davey wiggle. 54's got the momentum on the high side.
He just took the air from him on that, and plus 3 newer lap tires.
6 car gonna try and get around.
You know what? That tires may come into it.
Well, and Davey's getting freight train now. They got the draft up on that higher line with the 6 and the 3. It's going to be tough for Davey. He's fighting that car now, it looks like it. Oh, 6 got in the wall a little bit there.
I may be having to eat my words.
Davey got a really nice run off of turn 4. Gonna clear the 6 car down the front stretch. 2 to go. White flag next time by.
I think Davey's resettled himself. You know, getting loose 2 turns in a row, that's going to shake your nerves up a little bit.
Well, and Davey does not need to win this race. If he finishes second, I'm 99% sure he's advancing. Won that stage, gained those 7 points. He's gonna advance. To me, right now, if nothing changes, it's gonna be Brandon Schaefer, Brandon Banks, Davey Hendricks, and Ed Morris. Brandon Park was able to get around Ed Morris, but I just don't think, with the stage point situation that happened earlier, I don't think he's going to advance. He's going to need at least probably 2 or 3 more positions. And he is not going to get them.
Oh, Banks and Schaefer locked into the final 4. 2 spots are going to be determined off points. Man, I'm glad, Bobby. I'm glad I ain't got to worry about this.
I'll tell you what. I'm just going to put it out there. Josh Van Gore finished a race, and not only finished a race, finished in the top 10. I'm a happy guy right now.
Finishing style.
I'm looking back at that pass for the lead, and definitely no contact. 54 did not touch the 38 at all. I'm gonna go into his cockpit and see if it was just the air and the car got loose or what happened there. That's exactly what happened. The car just got loose off the center of the corner there, and Davey really had to lift. May have just pushed the car just a little too much there. Gave up that spot, but gonna lock himself into that championship 4 on points.
Well, Tony, while y'all go sort the points, we're going to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors. Then we're going to come back and talk to Banks, Hendricks, and Newbraw. So y'all, we'll be right back.
Been the first thing that's really worked for me to put me to sleep.
Helps relax me when I'm trying to go to bed. All just really spectacular.
It also helps you put yourself into a routine.
I feel like I'm drinking lemonade. You guys give it a shot.
It works! It works! It's good!
Just try it.
Bobby, it came to looking at the finish. You know, Hendricks done it in Hendricks fashion. He put a wrench in the DBR sweep.
That's what he does.
You know, it's without further ado, a playoff driver. All three, top three, was playoff drivers, and you know, it was his highest finish of the whole season, I believe. Michael Newbraw, man, you swept him and snuck in with that P3, man. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Well, you're up there in the front. Y'all was doing some pretty heavy practicing together as a group. You know, what was the whole DBR mentality going in? You know, some of us are going to get in, some of us have to win to get in.
Well, the hope was we knew Schaefer was going to get in. There was a pretty good shot Banks was going to get in, and we knew my only shot in was I had to win this race. That was pretty much it. It was Newbraw, send it because you have to win this race to get in.
Well, P3 still ain't bad. I mean, we still got one more race left. Slim possibility you'll be fighting for the championship, but you never know how these points are going to play out.
Yeah, very true. I think I calculated it. I'm definitely on the outside looking in. There's just too many points to gap, and I didn't get any stage points tonight, so it killed me. That's probably my biggest Achilles heel is I don't get stage points.
But hey, man, you had a phenomenal race tonight. Highest finish of the season, P3, so nothing at all to be ashamed of.
No, not at all. Not at all. We kind of echoed it a little bit in the race. Banks, Schaefer, Hastings. We were listening to the broadcast. I ain't gonna lie, we were listening to the broadcast in the beginning, and we heard, no, DVR. I just don't think they got it tonight. Yeah, we kind of lit a fire under all of us.
Well, we got to keep it interesting one way or another, but you know, it's like it's been all season. You know, y'all are so close to that sweep, but it seems like somehow
Just missing it.
Hendricks finds a way to crash the party.
He did too. I was hoping when I saw him get loose and Banks got by him, I said, I just need it to happen one more time. Just Davey get loose one more time underneath that seam, and I guarantee you, we have a top 3 podium.
Well, I thought I was seriously going to eat my words because I did say it. I said the way it's going right now, it looks like Hendricks is going to upset, you know, the sweep and then the little wiggle he had. And I was like, I may just have to re-eat my words on this one.
Just a little bit.
But, man, a phenomenal race. And, you know, a heck of a season for you and the whole team.
Definitely. We love this car. I do believe we're, I know I'm pre-saying it before we actually get into next season, but I think we're staying in Xfinity.
It might just be a DBR powerhouse to look out for next season, man. But you get those shout outs, so that floor is yours.
Definitely. I will definitely want to thank Banks, Schaefer, Hastings. They kind of rode me hard this race. Make sure I was staying up there. Make sure I was being aggressive the whole time. Definitely want to thank you guys and RRL. Terrific league. Love racing in it. I definitely want to thank Paul's Setup Shop and Negus Paint Shop. That they're doing a fantastic job over there on all of our paints that we bring out each week. And most importantly, I want to thank my daughters, Alyssa and Haley, and all the rest of my motley crew of 6 kids, and my lovely wife Jennifer as well.
You done good tonight, so I'm pretty sure they're proud of Daddy.
Thanks.
All right, brother. Congratulations. We're gonna ship you on up with your boys.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Well, Bobby, I think we found your monkey wrench. We drag him down here. Davey, you got a copy?
I do.
I think Bobby had a few little pointers from you he needed.
I didn't win, so you don't need that many from me.
I don't know, brother. I think you ran a phenomenal race. Was way outside looking in, coming into this deal, set on the pole. I believe you led the most laps and won the stage. So I think you did everything you needed to tonight to get yourself locked in.
Short of winning. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I was a point out when we came into this. So I mean, I just honestly just wanted a decent finish and some stage points. I think I lucked out that we got into a fuel saving race for that stage because I mean, I don't know. I saved just enough fuel to make it, and was able to stay decently ahead of all the other guys I needed to beat. But I don't know. For a while, it was great because the top 4 for a little bit were me, Morris, Banks, and Park, and we were the 4 that was racing for those last 3 spots. So I thought that was kind of cool for a bit that we all were right beside each other.
So here's the bigger question. What is your feeling going into the last race here?
Honestly, I just wanted to make it to the 8. I was we had a tight race, but my goal for the season was to get to the top 8, and then if I got past that, hooray, hurrah. I like Dover. It's a good track. It's fun. It's interesting. It's different. I think it's going to be a good last race. It's not your typical mile and a half. It's concrete. If I remember right, last year in ARCA or Gen 4, me, Banks, Schaefer, and Morris were the top 4 for a while, and I think Schaefer died, and it's probably the only reason he didn't win. I mean, so I'm confident. Yeah, I like the track. I think it'll be good, but I'm not sold on me having the fastest car just yet.
Well, you've been up here plenty of times this season, had a very successful season, so you know the drill. Friends, family, sponsors.
Yep, got to thank my whole team, North South. Love racing with them. Thrilled to see both me and Morris make it. Get to the Final Four after he had probably a longer season than I did, but thankful we both got there. Jab at PC for doing the Xfinity series, coming on and sponsoring us. Cutscene, Go Cruise Travel, Martin Sports, Exiled Esports, all of them for coming on and sponsoring the league and the respective series besides us. All the admins that put this on, you guys up in the booth, everyone that races week in and week out. I feel like we've had a great season for Xfinity. I've really enjoyed racing it. And then everyone watching, and I think that's it.
I think that's summed up everybody, Hendricks. But well, we ain't gonna let you know if you're fighting for 4 at Dover, but we'll let you know here after a while.
I'm sure Matt will get the points, or Tony will get the points done pretty quick, whoever does it.
They're working on them right now.
Yeah, as soon as the race was over, the first words out of Morris's mouth was, "Our point's done." I'm not sure he'd even crossed the line before he asked.
Well, I can confirm the points are done, but we're not gonna announce the championship for quite yet on the broadcast. But I'm sure you've already seen them.
Yep, I have.
All right, we're going to send you back down. Let y'all figure out a plan for next week. And congratulations on that run, man.
Appreciate it.
Well, he wasn't really in a win to get in, but you know what? Coming off the last race, going to the championship race, coming off a win, that's got to set the momentum pretty high for you, Banks. Congratulations on that win tonight, man. You actually had to fight for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Davey gave me a run, man. It was a lot of fun.
Well, I will tell you that I feel like I may have assisted in that win.
Yeah.
I kind of had that commentator's curse where I said Davey doesn't make mistakes, and Davey made a mistake. So
Oh yeah. He was real. I mean, when I thought we cut that caution there, and then he ended up getting out in front of us, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna play right into his hands because he was really fast for probably the first 15, 20 laps of that run. And all I could really do every time I got close to him, it would just get me loose, and I had to kind of just sit there like 5/10 off of him and just kind of wait. Um, so I was like, this is going to be tough, because I pretty much, I sat back a little bit and I just had to keep throwing it in there underneath him, and I got both close to his bumper a couple times there, and I think I packed some air under him in 1 and 2, and then I was like, oh shit, sorry, and that's actually, was working, so I threw it in there again on 3, and I guess it just kind of got him loose enough that I could get around him, but got lucky there. He was really fast. Like I said, I wish it wouldn't have caught a caution there. I wish we could have raced it out. I think it'd have been really fun to actually get a green flag run and see how that would have worked out. But still a good finish. Like I said, we'll take it. Got some momentum going into next week. Schaefer winning last week, and DBR's rolling pretty good right now. I got some couple guys in the top 5. So yeah, good night.
Yeah, it's like it has been all season. Hendricks is that wrench that's messed up that DVR sweep.
Yeah. He's quick. He's fast everywhere. So you got to pretty much, if you're gonna beat him, you better kind of bring your A game. So I know he's gonna be really good next week. I know he's good at Dover. So when we raced the ARCA cars, he was class at the field there. So we gotta put some practice in this week, and we'll see. We'll see if we can get him. He's gonna be tough. Like I said, we gotta just put a little pressure on him, and we'll see what happens.
So in the chat, Hastings called you out. Said potty mouth.
Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry.
You're good, man. So got a week off next week. I imagine you're going to throw a whole bunch of practice in.
Yeah.
Get that all figured out where you can be fast and how you can be fast in the long run. You know the deal, man. Shout out to yours.
Yeah, man, thanks to you guys for everything you do. Like I said, just it's a lot of fun coming in here. Just racing with these guys every week, Davey and Ed and Park and all the DBR guys, and everybody's here. Greg, he's gonna get that win. He might get it next week, so he's there every week. So it's a lot of fun. Jabit PC, Cutscene, Negas Paint Shop, Paul Setup Shop, just everybody. You've Tony for putting all this on, and like I said, we'll go to next week, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, not next week, week after. I'm sorry, and we'll see if we can put on a good show for you guys.
Yeah, man. Well, we appreciate you saying that. One last question for you. So the consensus is DBR will be staying in Xfinity next season. Can you confirm?
Yeah, well, most likely, honestly, yeah, because I believe you guys run on Wednesdays. So,
Yeah.
and we've been running a league that we've been running in for probably 3 or 4 years now on Wednesdays. So it'd be very hard to leave them. So it has nothing to do. We actually really would like to bring a team into there, but we might have to stay in Xfinity. Hopefully, we'll have some good guys coming up from Trucks and ARCA, and maybe a couple of these guys will stick around. I know a lot of the Davey and all them guys are kind of going up, but we'll see. Like I said, yeah.
I have heard a rumor that a couple of friends of yours might be, and some old rivals and very good friends of mine might be coming to visit you in Xfinity also.
Is that right?
Very excited to hear
Okay.
and see if this actually comes true.
Well, that's it. Hopefully we have some guys come up and they can make it just as fun as it is now. And like I said, maybe we can put on just as good a show as we're putting on now with these guys. I'd say it's just a lot of fun racing with Davey and them. They race really clean. Um, for the most part, this entire league is pretty clean. I guess we're kind of hitting our stride with everybody racing around each other the way they do. I think we're getting used to each other. We're being able to race a lot closer to each other and put some more good racing on. So hopefully these guys that do come up and stick around, we can do the same thing next season.
All right, brother, we're going to shoot you on out. Let y'all boys have a week off and figure out how you're going to take care of Dover. Because you
Yes,
know
sir.
you're heading, and you know Schaefer's heading. So
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Like I said, we'll put on the practice we can put in and see if we can put DBR in championship there. So thank you guys.
Tony, I'm pretty sure Matt was on those points, and y'all got it figured out real quick, didn't you?
Yep, Matt was definitely on his game there. Got him up very, very fast. So we do know who our championship four are, and we will announce that right after this commercial.
It's been the first thing that's really worked for me to put me to sleep.
Helps relax me when I'm trying to go to bed. All just really spectacular.
It also helps you put yourself into a routine.
I feel like I'm drinking lemonade. You guys give it a shot.
It works! It works! It's good!
Just try it.
All right, Tony, you got something for us, I think.
Yes, sir. So we have Brandon Schaefer and Brandon Banks, the two winners of the round of 8 races. We have Davey Hendricks, who came into this race in the 5th spot and actually moved up to the 2nd spot in points before the reset. And our final driver to advance is, by 3 points, Ed Morris Jr.
Boy, this is going to be a DBR North-South showdown for that championship at Dover.
Man, we've been saying it all season. It's coming to light.
And looking through it, combined, every one of them was all 20 races. Well, you've got DBR, what? Let's see, 22 top 5s and 27 top 10s. And
Yep.
North-South is setting it 19 top 5s and 24 top 10s. I mean, a combined 13 races won amongst the 4 that's going to be battling it next week or week after next.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we kind of foresaw a lot of this. There was a couple that Ed Morris had a very rough start to the season, got it together midpoint of the season and just kind of climbed up from there. Brandon Park just missed it by 3 points. I really thought that battle was going to be right there between Ed Morris and Brandon Park. Ed Morris came out on top. A couple of the drivers that were outside looking in, Cody Riggs was having a great race until he had his issue. Greg Rogers really needed that win, got himself up in the track position, but just not able to maintain it. And Michael Newbra, he had a great race, finished 3rd, I believe, if I remember correctly. Had a great season overall. Continues to improve, it seems like. Towards the beginning of the season, we didn't really see him mixing it up with these guys, and now towards the end of the season, he's up there battling with the Bankses, the Hendricks, the Schaefers, the Morrises. So definitely improving, and maybe even getting some luck on his side as not getting caught up in wrecks and things like that. So definitely a very strong showing from this entire Xfinity series this season. One race to go, off week next week, Valentine's Day. Don't want to get anybody in trouble with their significant others. And then we're going to come back for that championship race at Dover.
Well, I think it's going to come down to the wire. I mean, next week at Dover's going to be wild. And Bobby, Tony, y'all are more experienced at Dover than I am. So what's the mentality going into a track like that?
From my perspective, I enjoy Dover, but I cannot save tires at Dover for anything. I think the key to the race is being fast while able to save tires on the long run there. A lot of banking in the corners, weird transition out of the corners onto the front stretch and the back stretch. It's almost like a hill you climb and then it goes the opposite way. It's a very strange transition, but we're gonna see a lot of people put in a lot of practice. I expect it to be a very clean race. It should be a great one to watch.
Did we lose Bobby?
Nope, I'm with you. Dover, I will tell you this. I'm almost thankful I'm not in the playoffs or cup because people would have seen me really, really struggle. That's a place that I am how do I say this as politely as I can? Absolute garbage. So no not good knowledge will come from me about Dover Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I honestly think it's a perfect track for a championship race. It's not your cookie cutter track. It's going to be a combination of being fast, but also being able to save tire. I think we're going to see some very, very close racing there, and it should be very, very fun to watch.
Well, with that said, guys, I appreciate it hanging it out. We're going to do it one more time. And man, I'll tell you what, these next few weeks is going to be adrenaline pumping. But with that said, on behalf of myself, SBRN, Relentless Racing, Bobby and Tony, both of y'all joining me up here in the booth. We will see y'all next week. Well, week after next. Get spicy next week, but week after that, Tony, I think it's going to be pretty wild.
Yep, it's definitely going to be wild, and we'll be rounding out the season. Then we'll come back fresh on the new season in a few weeks after that.
All right, till then, everybody, make sure you check it in tomorrow night as the trucks. Them guys are just right in the midst of their battle for championship. So tune back in tomorrow night at about 7:30 Central. We'll get some more racing going on. Till then, y'all have a good night and stay safe.